Ed, and Eddy has always held a special place in my heart as one of my all-time favorite Cartoon Network shows. In today's video, we will dive into the memorable scams from Season 1 and rate them on a scale from 1 to 5 using our Blankometer. But before we dive in, let's take a quick refresher on the show's premises. So, if you are already familiar, feel free to skip ahead.
No way, Jose! We're cooking!
The show revolves around three boys known as the Eds, who are considered outsiders by the cul-de-sac kids. There's Ed, the strong but not so bright member of the trio, Double D, the nerd who's all about inventing, and Eddy, the con artist and self-proclaimed leader of the crew. Their constant mission is coming up with elaborate schemes to make money from the other kids, all in pursuit of the jawbreakers, but their plans fail almost every time. Speaking of the neighborhood kids, let's not forget about Johnny, the loner who's inseparable from his best friend Plank. Then there's Jimmy, the fragile, accident-prone boy who often hangs out with Ed's spoiled sister, Sarah. Rolf, the immigrant who loves his farm. Kevin, the cool guy who loves his bike and hates the Ed boys. And last but not least, there's Naz, the crush of the boys in the cul-de-sac. All these kids share a common fear of the Canker sisters, Lee, May, and Barry, who love the Eds but always ruin their scams. With that little recap out of the way, let's dive into the video. So grab your jawbreakers and let's dive in.
Move it out of the way! This is the best part!
In number 9, we have the Scam and Quick Shot Ed, where Eddy finds a camera in his attic and starts taking random pictures. Then he decides that they need to make some profit from the camera, and after stumbling upon a calendar in a trash can, he gets the idea of taking pictures of other kids and turning them into calendars. After taking embarrassing pictures of the kids, Kevin chased them while having sunglasses on, so the flash didn't hurt his eyes. The Ed boys were able to lose him, however, they found themselves near the Canker's house, where Eddy thought it would be a good idea to take pictures of the girls, but instead they got caught and were given an awful makeover by the sisters.
Smile!
So the scam was a failure, and instead of making some profit, the Ed boys got their embarrassing picture on a calendar. I give the scam a 1 out of 5 on the Blankometer because taking pictures without permission is awful. In number 8, we have the scam and Read All About Ed. In this episode, Eddy realizes that Double D gets paid to deliver newspapers around the neighborhood. He saw an opportunity to make some cash easily. So the next day he ordered a truckload of newspapers, and then Double D built a machine to help them deliver everything in a short time. Everything was going kinda okay until Ed joined the machine by throwing Eddy's bed in it, and it started blasting papers all over cul-de-sac.
Huh? Ed! You hit me and I'm telling Mom!
The scam is a complete failure because if the Ed boys wanted to get paid, they had to deliver the papers in the proper way. The scam gets a 2 out of 5.
We will not receive payment unless the newspapers are properly delivered.
In number 7, we have Flea Bitten Ed, where the Ed boys open a pet boutique so they can wash Rolf's animals for some cash. The plan was working fine until Ed got allergic from rubbing his face with rabbits. They had to stop cleaning so they could help Ed with his allergies. While they were gone, the rabbits were practicing their multiplication tables and ended up taking over the neighborhood. We never got to see if the Eds got paid, so I'll assume that the scam was a failure. However, they got to watch TV while sitting on a roof with a hood full of bunnies. This will get 4 points just because rabbits are cute.
Those aren't rabbits, those are bunnies!
In number 6, we have A Glassworm of Ed, where Ed ate all the food in the neighborhood while sleepwalking. Double D and Eddy lured him back to his house using smelly shoes. Then he got stuck in his window because he was so big. The next morning, all the kids were hungry and Eddy had the perfect scam. He opened Ed's Market, selling all the starving kids their own breakfast for cheap from Ed's belly. We see Johnny paying 50 cents for chunky puffs, So the scam was probably the most successful because all the kids were hungry and were heading towards Ed's market. This scam gets a 2.5 because it's disgusting, but it worked.
I love chunky puffs.
Would you like milk with that?
In number 5, we have Vert at Go, where Eddy gets the idea of creating a clubhouse and call it Club Ed after seeing a plain advertising Joe's Clubhouse. The Ed boys went through many places to try and build the clubhouse, but Kevin didn't want it in his backyard. The landfill was too unsanitary and the local mailbox was too small. They were out of luck until they stumbled upon a perfect tree for the club. After building it, Eddy tries to convince the kids to join the club. However, everyone laughs when they see that the cankers took over the clubhouse.
Get out of our clubhouse!
Come up here and make us.
This scam was a huge failure because they couldn't get the clubhouse back, and instead getting money, Eddy got a body full of thorns. This scam gets a 4 out of 5 because having your own clubhouse seems so much fun.
I think you'll spend the membership fees on jawbreakers.
You can trust these faces.
In number 4, we have the Ed Touchables, where Double D and Sarah lose their stuff, so Eddy stood in the middle of cul-de-sac to warn the kids of the serial toucher. The kids agreed to pay the Ed boys if they catch who did it. The plan to catch the toucher was very simple. Ed has to sit on a bench while wearing a don't touch sign, and whoever touched him is the serial toucher. After that, Johnny and Plank walk to the bench and touch Ed, which sets an alarm that scares Johnny and leads him to run. The Eds catch him and take him to the interrogation room, where Eddy tortures Plank with a water gun until Johnny falsely confesses his crime.
We know you didn't do it, Johnny.
The scam was almost successful as the Ed boys got to buy jawbreakers. However, they didn't get to enjoy them because Sarah pushed Johnny toward the Eds, which knocked the jawbreakers out of their mouths. This scam gets a 4.5 because the Ed boys got to taste the jawbreakers at least.
A little childhood trauma builds character.
And hey, if you're enjoying this trip down memory lane, don't forget to subscribe for more nostalgic content like this. In number 3, we have Over Your Head. This episode had 2 scams. The first one was very simple, just make an energy drink, sell it to the kids, and make some cash. However, Ed found a way to ruin everything by being himself.
Real smooth, dork.
Also in this episode, Ed smelled so bad, so Double D and Eddy decided to give him a makeover and teach him some catchphrases to turn him into a cool guy. The plan worked because all the kids loved the new Ed, and Eddy decided to capitalize on this golden opportunity to make some money. So the Eds created a show for Ed to show off and say his phrases. The scam was successful and the Ed boys got a jar full of quarters. However, this wouldn't be an Ed and Eddy episode if the cankers didn't ruin everything for our boys.
Hey, Shakespeare's! Great show, worth every penny!
The first scam gets a 1 because Ed couldn't do a simple job, but the second one gets a 5 because Cool Ed is amazing.
Schwiggity swag, what's in the bag?
In number 2, we have Look Into My Eds, where we also have 2 scams. In the first one, the Ed boys created a cool bus using a wagon, a large box, and tied it to Ed, who was dragging it like a horse. They used this bus to transport the kids from cul-de-sac to the candy store for some quarters. It was going well till they went downhill and crashed the bus.
I'm afraid this constitutes a refund.
In the second one, Double D got his psychology manual delivered to him. Eddy yanks the book from Double D's hand and shakes it only for a hypnotizing wheel to fall from it. And of course, Eddy being a greedy boy, he sees a perfect opportunity to hypnotize everyone to give him money. This scam was almost successful as Kevin was collecting coins from everyone until the cankers showed up and ruined the plan of the Ed boys. Eddy tried to hypnotize the trio but failed because Lee's hair is always covering her eyes. She snatches the hypnotizing hat from Eddy and hypnotizes our beloved boys into dogs, which is kinda sus.
Lee, go tell those blasted dogs to keep it down!
The first scam gets a 5 because the bus was very cool. The second one gets a 4 because Eddy almost had superpowers, but he was an idiot.
Kevin is a slave to my powers.
And finally, in number 1, we have Avasti Ads, where we have the last scam in Season 1. At first, Eddy was advertising a swing ride for 25 cents, but everyone ignored him because it wasn't really fun. When Ed tries to show the swing off by pushing it as hard as he can, the rope snaps and it yeets the tire into the creek while Double D is still on it. When Kevin asks if they are up to something, Eddy comes up with the Creek Crew scam for the low price of 25 cents. It's a very cool scam, just the Ed boys cruising down the creek with Johnny and Jimmy on a tire. It was almost a success until the Cankers showed up as pirates on their own ship and ruined everything for our boys for one last time in Season 1. This gets a 5 because turning a tire into a ship is very awesome.
I was kind of hoping my first kiss would be enjoyable.
So there we have it, our journey through the scams of Season 1 in Ed, Edd and Eddy. And remember, the Plankometer ratings were all fake because every scam in this show is a 5 in our hearts. Thanks for joining. Until next time, keep on scamming and stay nostalgic.